The following broadcast is a presentation of iRacing Motorsport and Simulations live on PTR-TV. We'd like to thank all of our partners for their support.
He may get the run on the outside off of the back straightaway. 26 and Hallmark trying to go three wide. No one's going with him.
Talking and bobbing and weaving down the back straightaway, looking for a way around. The 5 machine trying to take a look underneath the 3 car. He's going to dive in down to the bottom. A huge move down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Back bumper. Can anything happen through the tri-oval? Walker Thomas to the inside. Here he comes to the outside. Side by side through the tri-oval. The 14. It's going to be a photo finish to the line. Who's going to get it?
Walker Thomas. Machine coming out of turn number 4. Tiller looking to go 3 wide, almost 4 wide. He's going to try to look for a gap. Bobbing and weaving for the lead down through the tri-oval.
Photo finish.
2 by 2. The 65 gets the win.
I remember a couple years into my tenure at Hendrick Motorsports, I was asked to go fill in at a road course test at Road Atlanta for Jimmy Johnson. He had tested the first day and couldn't test the second day. And I was nervous. I'm testing for Jimmy Johnson, 7-time champion. Man, I better be ready. You know, Chad Knaus and all those guys, they expect perfection. So I spent hours racing on iRacing at Road Atlanta. And when I showed up, I was right on top of Jimmy's times from the day before, and they didn't know how. They couldn't believe, like, you've been here before? And I was like, never seen it. But I went online and raced online on iRacing, and it literally was like deja vu when I got out on the actual track and tested.
Did you know that, I was going to jump in real quick, the simulator, did you know, like, when you got out there, hey, it's going to be this, or as you're driving, you're like, wow, this really is the same?
It's so similar. It's visually so similar. And the other thing, too, that helps is all the, you can basically, the iRacing software and some of the simulators for the manufacturers are so technical and realistic that they can create the perfect shift point. So I'll shift into, the same gears at the same spot on the racetrack, and I'll need to be in the same gear in every corner as I would from the simulator to the real world experience. And so those are things that you don't have to learn when you show up. I don't have to spend the first half of the day learning the track, learning where the shift points are, learning what gear to be in, learning how hard I can brake into the corner. Yeah. I already know it. And literally it transfers over into real life so much easier these days with how realistic these simulations are.
Wow. Two things come. Road Atlanta is a tough.
Welcome back, race fans, to PTR TV on LSRTV. Tonight's coverage is of the ASRS Twitchy Race Reports Premier Cup Series here tonight. We are at the Pocono Raceway for 50 laps of action at the Pocono Raceway in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup machines. It's been quite the layoff for this series. You'll see the truck series here. You've seen them quite recently and quite frequently, but we haven't ridden in the NASCAR Cup machines in almost 2 months. So we are excited to bring you coverage of that here tonight. Again, calling the shots is myself, Corey Silva. I got Evan Black with me, and we also have Joe Chris behind the scenes helping us out with some things to help this broadcast go extremely well for everybody. So Evan, like we said, I almost kind of forgot where we left off in the Cup Series. It's been so long. We know Jeff Ward is always one to watch out for, and who else are we going to be watching out for tonight? It's been so long since we've been in the Cup car.
Yeah, it's been, like you said, it's been, I think, over 2 months now since we have been in these Cup cars, so people are going to be used to those trucks, and these cars drive completely differently. But right now we've got qualifying going on. It looks like Scott Eckrich, he's currently on the provisional pole, so he's going to be one to watch for tonight. He's a little bit further back in points, as I do not believe he has made all the starts here tonight, but he's definitely going to be one to watch.
Yeah, right now qualifying is technically underway. The drivers' meeting took up a portion of it. Now they are just sorting through some final odds and ends before tonight's race does begin. We had 36 drivers enter the race room, so that is the cap for the server. So 36 drivers, everybody who wants to race will be racing tonight. And again, alluding to the points as Evan was, Jeff Ward is up by 26 points with 5 wins this season. He's had 9 top 5s. He's had 9 top 10s. over the course of 10 races. Evan, he's won half of the races this season, 26 points over Jared Mogard, who, from what we're seeing, Mogard is absent from tonight's race, so it is going to be looking pretty good for Jeff Ward to extend that points lead.
Yeah, he's going to, even if he doesn't really have a very good night tonight, with Mogart not being here, he's still going to gain quite a few points over him, but it kind of amazes me with how well Jeff Ward has done that. Mogart is still only 26 points behind him, so Mogart has done a really nice job too. Yeah,
I can't forget Brian Yazik, who's third in points. He's 33 back. Brian Yazik's 59 points back. Jordan Ashland 78 back, and Jason Stewart 95 points back of the lead at this point in the season. Race number 11. And as you go through the ticker here, unofficial standings at the moment, Brian Yazik back in the 12th spot. But Brian Yazik is someone that we expect to come through later in the race. He's not someone to qualify very well, Evan, as we know, so we'll watch him in his endeavors later in the race to try to get through this field. But the clock is ticking, so we are getting ready to bring to you the starting lineup here tonight from the Pocono Raceway for 50 laps of action. On the pole tonight with a lap time of 50.750 seconds is Scott Eckrich. Congratulations go to him on that lap, and Nick Cohan on the outside of the front row. In P3, we're going to have Mark Emerson and Jeff Ward in P4. We have Woody Mahan in 5th and Tyler Seville rolling off in 6th, 7th, 8th. You'll find Mitch Brown and Clarence Bonner.
And then rolling off in the 9th position, we have Mark Cohn, Jordan Ashland to his outside. Richard Stallings in 11th, Brian Yazik in 12th, Zach Calloway in 13th, Nick Curling in 14th, Sam Maxwell in 15th, and Jared Haggerty in 16th.
In 17th is Jay Graves Jr. Andy Veltman rolling off at the 18th spot. Dylan Hickey in 19th, and then Tommy Cannon rolling off in 20th. We have Tim Knott in 21st, Jordan Harnish in 22nd, David Hudson 23rd, and Brandon Kreutz rolling off P24.
Josh Gallagher in 25th, Jim Foose 26th, Kenny Baker in 27th, Scott Holler 28th, Steve Hall 29th, JT Whitwer in 30th, John Kennedy 31st, Nick Kaufman 32nd, Troy Haight 33rd, Jason Stewart 34th, Richard Fletcher 35th, and Ryan Hartz in 36th.
Yep, so that is the field tonight. So again, every driver here is making the show. Sometimes we do have some go or go home drivers. That is not the case tonight. Well, let's go over the weather conditions these guys will be enduring tonight. It is 79 degrees, well, about 80 degrees in the air, and 88 degree track temp, negligible wind and humidity. So pretty much there should be ample grip out there, Evan. Nothing really to hinder these vehicles, but we do know the tricky triangle here in Pocono and how fast these machines are. We did some racing here ourselves the other day, and you really have to be on your marks, and you can't miss your line by an inch.
Yeah, this track will have a little bit more grip than what me and Corey raced on, just a little bit, but still, it's going to be very hard for these guys to nail their line every single lap.
Yeah, in our experience, you're going to be seeing these drivers shifting over and over. I mean, ultimately, you'll see drivers definitely shifting in corners. I mean, I'm going to say for simplicity, Evan, 1 and 3. And turn 2, the tunnel turn, is kind of driver preference, but I mean, I know we were definitely shifting there, so we'll see what the fast guys choose to do and, well, what everyone chooses to do. But here we come through corner number 1, and as you will hear Evan most likely allude to, corners number 1 and 2 here at Pocono. We have a little bit of time, Evan. I think you can kind of give your spiel on that every time we race here.
I mean, according to normal NASCAR logic, this would be a 6-turn racetrack. I do believe that this would be a 3-turn racetrack, but according to NASCAR logic, it is 6 turns.
I mean, any other oval, you go to Charlotte, you go to Atlanta, I mean, well, that's broken up into 4 turns, even though theoretically it is only 2 turns, so why doesn't Pocono get that same treatment? We don't know, but...
because then it wouldn't be a triangle.
Yeah, there we go. Let's bring some confusing mathematics into play and geometry while we're at it, but it is a Tuesday night, and glad everyone who is with us has chosen to be with us here on this Tuesday night for the American Sim Racing Series, their Twitchy Race Reports Premier Cup Series, live here on LSRTV, presented by PTR TV. Scott Eckrich in that number 70. He will lead him through the final turn here, the 6 degrees of banking that encompasses the final turn here at Pocono. And again, with that number 57 of Nick Cohan to his outside. Not much of a restart zone here. Once that pace car does pull in, that green flag comes out relatively quickly, so we'll watch and see who gets up to speed quickest. Pace car is in, and there's that green flag. We are racing at Pocono.
Eckridge got a really good jump there over Cohan. He's easily going to take the lead and clear for the lead before we even got to the start finish there, but the battle is going on currently for second. It looks like Emerson is going to fall back into that third position and drop in line behind that 57 Cohan.
Yeah, Cohan does fall in line behind Eckridge, and then top 3 or 4 already single file, but you will see these guys flailing out there in the back of the pack. There's so much room to race here at Pocono, and especially on these starts and restarts, this is where you need to gain these positions, because once everybody spreads out, it is going to be really hard to make passes.
Yeah, we got a battle going on for 5th with Woody Mahan and that 40 machine on the outside of Mitch Brown. Woody had the spot, but Mitch Brown is trying to take it away from him down into turn 3, and he's going to clear him. Power move by that 18.
Yeah, Mitch Brown diving it in there, and you got to watch out because you can't waste those tires. You know, the harder you're driving now, if this does go green, which it didn't go green in the truck series, but if it does go green in these cup cars, you will be regretting it by driving it too hard. So we'll see if anybody has to deal with that. Here comes Sam Maxwell diving it underneath the 117 of Richard Stallings. That's for the 14 spot. You can see the 2 machine right there as well. Zach Calloway underneath the 6 of Jared Haggerty. Some contact off of corner number 1. So 117 is having that momentum down the Long Pond straightaway. They can't go side by side the tunnel. It's not advised, but I think they're going to go for it.
Yeah, Maxwell's going to try and stay side by side there. It's going to get really tight out of turn 2, 3 wide as they get ready to go down into turn 3. This may not end well. Jared Haggerty all the way down there on the bottom of the track, and it looks like it's going to work at least for now. And there goes Haggerty by both the 98 and the 117.
Remember the old Pocono version on iRacing, the old bumpy version? There was a grip strip up there in that third groove. That gave you some grip. That allowed you to run that lane successfully, and if anything, preferred in some situations. Well, that's not here on the repave. So you don't want to be that high. You want to be right on that yellow line, at least for now, until this track rubber's in. But here comes Maxwell again underneath Haggerty. This is a very tight battle, closest battle up to the front of the pack at the moment as they go side by side. It looks like Maxwell may lose a spot. Will he have that driver behind him try to fill in that gap?
Yeah, looks like the 2 of Callaway is going to try and fill it. He's going to back out as they go down into the tunnel turn, but he's up there kind of in the second half, third lane, which is not where you want to be in that corner. He's going to lose all his momentum, and the 117 of Stallings has a run on him, but not going to be able to get to his quarter panel yet as they go down into 3. We'll see if he can get anything here on the front stretch.
Going up front a little bit further, Evan, we have Brian Yazik, who we always talk about Yazik not being a qualifier, being a racer. Here he comes underneath the 13 of Clarence Bonner. They're going to drag race down the longest front straightaway in NASCAR, so you really have to get off that final corner. Set yourself up to get that run down the straightaway and dive off into 1. You can see the 13 well up in the third groove, but not losing too much time, falls back in line. Not enough move for a crossover. He'll have to try to hang on. Mark Cohen right behind him.
I don't think Conan's going to have enough of a run here as the 27 of Ashland trying to get underneath that 1 machine, and the 1's just going to let him go down into the tunnel. Smart move there, because you do not want to go side by side through there.
Now, Evan, remember the old version of Pocono? You wanted to go side. Well, you could pretty successfully run side by side, but it just seems in this new version that's been taken away from us, if anything.
Yeah, with this newer pavement, it's made the track a lot more line sensitive, where you really just have to be right on that yellow line and get it to turn, especially through the tunnel.
Yeah, I mean, in my experience, and I got off to a really good run, Evan, in our race, and then you got me at the end of the run. The tire wear is huge. Wheel spin's going to be huge. Remember, these guys are shifting in almost every single corner, so you have that thing in third gear. You're getting that thing to rotate with the tire spin there, and then eventually those tires are going to heat up, and, well, about 10, 15 laps into this race, it is going to be a lot more of a handful.
It's also a little more fun to drive, I think, at least.
Yeah, it is definitely.
I like the loose car.
Yeah, it is fun as long as you're not in the middle of a 2-3 wide pack trying to keep that thing stable. Then maybe the fun might be a little arbitrary. But here comes the 117 of, I believe that is Stallings. Yes, it is Richard Stallings and Jared Haggerty. Haggerty is going the wrong direction in the field. He is back to 16th at the moment. And sorry, guys, I do not like this front straightaway camera. I will try to avoid it, but we forgot what's going on up front. We haven't been following it. What is going on up front? Well, the answer to that question is not very much at the moment. Scott Eckridge is out to about a half a second over Nick Cohan. money man on the season. Jeff Ward is in third, about 2 seconds off of the lead. And the top 5 will round out with Mark Emerson and Mitch Brown. We can pull on our lap tracker and see who was the fastest of the top 10. And we'll see here, it looked like it was actually the 90 of Ward. Actually, we're going to go a little bit further down, all the way Clarence Bonner, fastest in the top 10, but, well, he has a lot of ground to make up, so we'll leave it on the screen and see what happens this time by. See, everybody slowed down significantly. Nobody in the 51-second bracket last time by, but fastest on the track goes to the leader.
Yeah, by a pretty good margin, about a 1/10 of a second over Cohan. And about 1/10 and a half over Jeff Ward, so seems like it's, I don't know if maybe Eckrich has saved his tires a little better. I know he's kind of been out front this whole race, but might have just been a better, might have just been driving the car better to save the tires.
Yeah, and this is about the time that does come into play, where the guys who they get the 13 of Clarence Bonner into the fence out of corner number 2. That's going to be a thing that we see quite often. Let's maybe go on the replay if we can and catch that live on board with, well, not live, but we'll catch it on board with the 13. You can see he just didn't nail the entry. He overdrove it, and, well, I can't count how many times I did that in my race here, so, and I don't think he'll be the last one to do it.
Yeah, that corner is so easy to overdrive and just barely miss the bottom, and then your whole corner is screwed up and just gets really tight whenever you do not get down in that very bottom lane.
Yeah, so he's going to have to, well, he doesn't have too bad of damage. Definitely does have damage, so we'll see how that does come into play and if it does slow him down. But here he does have Sam Maxwell trying to get by. That is for the 12th position. Maxwell starting to work up. Watch out, Bonner. That wall is going to come out and get you again. He gets really slow, gets out of the way, lets everyone get by with that lost momentum that he has. And I
think that damage is really slowing down on these straights. I think it's really hurt the aero on that car.
And he may have done some suspension damage as well. We don't know exactly, but that thing may not be towing straight, which will obviously not help him in his cornering endeavors. So something to watch out for as the 13 falls back, but find some battles going on here. We see, well, you can see how spaced out they are on the top 10 at the moment, but there's a lot of racing still going on. The pack we were just following is the raciest pack on the racetrack right now is the 97. That's Andy Veltman. He is trying to get by David Hudson in that 16th position. The 75 machine dives it into the tunnel. Contact.
Just barely a little bit of contact.
Into the fence.
Yeah, that's what the 75 up into the fence, and here comes the 114 of Tommy Cannon. Maybe a little more contact there, but he's going to get by both of them.
Yeah, but Cannon really sailed it off in there into the final corner, washes up the track. That's going to open the door yet again for those drivers to try to get by Hudson and Veltman. So here comes the 75 underneath, trying to take advantage of that overdriving by Hudson. And
going down into one, that 75 of Hudson down on the bottom, and he's going to clear him, but is he going to be able to hold it on corner exit? It looks like he is going to be able to, but that 114 is going to get the run down the Long Pond straightaway, and 13 Bonner looks like he got tight out of one once again and lost all his momentum there.
Clarence Bonner backing out. I think he might be getting a little more confidence in that machine. He washes up the track. The 114 sails it up into the wall. Goes to 75 of the 13, spun around. That will bring out the first caution.
Oh, and he gets hit again late. Wait, is that Jason Stewart?
43, Steve Buhala. I think the 28 of Troy Haight involved as well. So some late issues involved there. Let's go on to the replay and try to see what happened. We saw a lot of it happen live, but you can see the 114 drove it in deep into the tunnel, maybe just sailed it in there too deep, got into the 75, who got into the 13, and 13 spins at the exit of the tunnel. That's Jason Stewart. I think Jim Foose as well got some heavy damage. So let's see here how this is going to affect Evan. We do know with pit strategy at Pocono, it's hard to pass, and sometimes you can get away with some tire strategy, and sometimes you can get away with staying out, but
I think that was too long of a run to really try anything here. They fell off a lot, but we'll see. If you're going to try something like that, now's the time to do it.
Yeah, like we said, usually about 10 to 12 laps into a run is where you really start to see the fall off. Trying to get our paints updated, so that's why you see the white cars on the screen. Apologies for that. They will clear in due time, but yeah, we will see everyone on pit road, and this is pretty much the pit window, Evan. There shouldn't be, after this point in the race, any need for fuel. So, I mean, it's going to
be really close. They can go about 35 laps. By the time we get back going green, it'll probably be 37. So it's going to be really close.
Yeah, so if they save, but again, that is under the interpretation that we're going to finish this race green, and not to disrespect anybody, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not, so we'll have to find out together throughout the end of this race. But let's see, as they come down pit road, if anybody decides to play the strategy call, or everyone just goes for the standard 4 tires and fuel.
I think Jeff Ward just got hit on pit road. Yeah, Jeff Ward and Mark Emerson just had some contact on pit road, and Emerson ended up hitting, or Jeff Ward ended up hitting the inside pit wall.
Wow, that is not good for the points leader. You can see a little bit of a wrinkle there to that number 90 machine, but nothing that is so overly extrapolate. He'll, I think I just made up a word there, but I think he's going to try to get that damage repaired, and while he's in there, yes he will, so that 90 is going to set himself up for quite the endeavor to try to get to the front of this field, so.
But the good thing for him is that Jared Mogart's not here, so he doesn't really have to worry about his points lead too much.
Yeah, the closest person in the standings is Brian Yazik, and Yazik mathematically cannot gain that much time just in this one race, so he will not have to worry about that. But while we are under caution here for the first time, as most of us know, Pocono has very long pace laps, so we're going to step aside for a moment, and we'll be back with you for the restart. So stay with us here on PTR TV on LSRTV.
So, hey, this is...
And we're back here on PTR TV on LSRTV. Just finished our first caution of the race. Pit stops were completed, and well, there wasn't too much in the words of strategy there. Everyone just went with the 4 tires and fuel, so we'll see if anything different happens. Eckrich got out to a pretty good lead there and was pulling away from the field, but now he's going to have to make something happen. He's going to have everyone right on his tail again. Pace car is in, and let's do it again. Green flag back out for the second time today, but not the jump he got the first time. Cohan stayed right with him.
Still pretty good jump though. He's going to be able to clear him at the start finish. Now it's sliding up and in front of him, but Mark Emerson back there in third. He's got some pretty good front end damage there from a little incident on pit road. That might hurt him down these long straightaways.
Oh my goodness, that is more than just a little damage, Evan. That is rather drastic. And here at Pocono with these long straightaways, you need all of that aerodynamics to be in your favor. And well, as we can tell, he does not have that to his advantage as they're 3 wide back in the pack. These drivers we've seen later in the pack making these big moves 3 wide through the tunnel. Well, that is not something that we would ever advise, but they managed to pull it off.
It's always fun whenever you see people go 3 wide through the tunnel and they make it work. It's a very hard thing to do, but it's nice to see when it does happen.
Yeah, and it's easiest to do it on the fresh tires when you have that opportunity to have that grip, because it's not going to be there later in the run. As we saw, Sam Maxwell working himself through the field. He is underneath the 2 machine of Zach Calloway sailing into 1. Mitch Brown drove it in deep up top, almost got into the back of Calloway, but he got hard on the binders to drop off of the back bumper of him. But now Mark Cohn trying to take advantage and get to the inside of Calloway. He'll fall back in line as we go down the long pond straightaway into the tunnel.
Going down into the tunnel turn, Callaway once again trying to get underneath and get by that number 98 of Sam Maxwell. Not able to get a good enough run there through turn 2. See if you can here in turn 3 as Maxwell is also trying to get by that 11 of Seville. Not close enough through turn 3, but Callaway has to watch out because Cohn is right behind him.
You can hear that shifting going on, and while Maxwell didn't do a very good job of it, look at that run the 2 has. He's going to take that all the way down this over 3,800 foot front straightaway, and he's going to sail it off into 1, but sometimes that outside does work in turn 1 if you don't sail it in too deep. Well, Maxwell sailed it in too deep, so that 2 will get loose in 3rd gear. Maxwell's going to sail it around the outside and hang on to the spot.
Yeah, Maxwell way overdrove it there, but thankfully for him, Callaway got down on the apron, got loose, and now Mitch Brown in that 18 trying to get around this number 2 of Callaway here through the tunnel turn. I think Brown, he does have the preferred lane, so that was close there. Callaway just barely got in the wall there. Mitch Brown is going to clear for the position.
Kicking up the sparks is Callaway, but continues with minimal damage, just continues going on. He will have to fiend off these spots as the 18 of Mitch Brown, the 1 of Mark Cohn. This is for the 8th, 9th, and 10th positions on the racetrack right now. Mitch Brown falls back in line. You can see up front in the long shot here that Eckrich out to a 1-second lead over Cohan. He is absolutely obliterating the field here, and he's only about 4 laps since the restart.
Yeah, it almost has me a little bit worried that he might be overusing his tires just a little bit, because he's gotten out to a lot bigger lead right now than he did in that previous run, so he's going to have to be careful about that.
Yeah, he's going to have to be and make sure that he's not burning the right rear off, not burning the right front up, because I mean if you get a combination of the 2 of them you might actually be okay, but really easy to sail in there, burn that right front up, and then maybe try to get it to rotate too hard on the gas and then loop yourself around. That's something that can happen. So I think Eckrich is pretty good though. I think he's good enough to know what he's doing. He might just be that good, so we'll see what happens here as we near the halfway point. Lap number 19 is what is on the board right now, and everyone is seeming to get into their own little pace right now, and seems to be that we might get a run going this time, Evan. And you talked before the break about this is going to be a really tight window if this does go green and we do have to run it to the checkers. You really said you're not too confident we'll go there on fuel?
It's going to be very close. Because by the time they went green, it's about 35 laps, and you can go about 35 laps, so it's going to be very close.
Whoa, hold the phone. We have someone sailing it off in there. We're not on the ocean, but he sailed it off into corner number 3. That was the 117 of Richard Stallings. I don't know if he Bubba Wallace that or what, but he just sent it into corner number 3. He got...
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there.
Yeah, we'll try to go on board with him. He was behind. Let's go a little bit further back again and try to analyze this. He's behind the 1 and the 2 who are kind of having a little bit of a battle. I think the 1 maybe had a different braking point than him, and then he abruptly turned to the right to avoid rear-ending him.
And it just broke loose when he cranked it back to the left to keep it off the wall.
But
he did a really nice job of not hitting anything else, because he got them to the wall a little bit, but then got it back straight.
From the live angle, it looked like he had no brakes and he just went in there full bore, which was kind of why I maybe over-exaggerated that call a little bit. But that's, I mean, if that thing's steering straight, Evan, these long, abysmally long pace laps, he may be able to repair that car. And he does have what appears to be top 15 pace at the very least, so his night may not be over.
Yeah, that is one good thing about these very long cautions, is you have a lot of time to get your damage fixed. Speaking of damage, Mark Emerson, he has all that front end damage, but he's hanging in there in 3rd, so he's doing a really nice job there, because I thought that would have killed his run.
Yeah, I thought so too, and well, we're coming down pit road, Evan. It was only about 6 laps agreed. Is this the strategy call? Is this the 2-tire stop for anybody?
I think we're going to see some 2 tires, and actually it looks like we have a couple guys staying out, maybe. I don't know if those are lap cars. One is a lap car.
Is Andy Veltman one of them? No.
Let me look.
No, it's not. Andy Veltman is...
Richard Fletcher.
All right, go on.
And Jim Foose. Jim Foose is getting the lucky dog, so... Just Jim Fletcher, or Richard Fletcher.
Typically, Andy Veltman is always the driver to try to get that bonus point, but not today. But Richard Fletcher is the guy to do so, so we'll see if he didn't get scored as the leader. And, well, I don't really remember that name too often in the series, Evan, so I'm not really one to believe that he has any kind of points implications, but heck, maybe he thinks he could hang on. We don't know.
No 2-tire calls up front, but I think the first 2-tire guy was David Hudson, who came out of pit road in 9th. So that'll be interesting to kind of see how that stacks up against everyone else.
Yeah, this was right at the point where I wouldn't have wanted to. If it was a couple laps later, I would say, without a doubt, you have to take 4 tires, no conditions. If it was a couple laps earlier, I'd say it's almost a guarantee just take 2 tires. This was right on that cusp of you might be able to get away with it either way, so I guess we'll find out together. Hopefully the iRacing pace car god chooses not to stretch this out too long. Nobody off of the lead lap that is actively on the track. Clarence Bonner is the only one that has retired from the race.
And Fletcher, he's staying out, at least for now.
And if he does pit this next time by, it will give him a penalty, so... Because once that 1 to go comes out, if you did not pit, the pits will be closed for you, so you will have to yield whatever penalty is presented to you, which is just the end of the longest line, but... I mean, you still get your bonus point for it, so I guess pick your poison, which is more important to you.
And he'd probably be there either way if he was to come down pit road right now versus a lap later.
Yeah, so a little bit of glory for that. Let's see here, that number 47 Macaulay Ford Fusion. So what do we got on the hood there? We got Cessna, so all right, a little bit of TV time, so make the sponsors happy. But let's give you, well, I guess we have the opportunity. It's close enough to halfway, so let's give you a little rundown of the entirety of the field right now. We have staying out on the speedway. Richard Fletcher leading this race. What am I doing? Scott Eckrich in second. Mark Emerson in third. Nick Cohan in fourth. Woody Mahan in fifth. Jordan Ashland in sixth. Mitch Brown in seventh. Tyler Seville running in eighth. David Hudson in ninth. And Mark Cohn running in 10th.
Zach Calloway currently running in 11th. Andy Veltman in 12th. Jordan Harnish in 13th. Sam Maxwell in 14th. Dylan Hickey in 15th. Nick Curling in 16th. Jeff Ward in 17th. Tommy Cannon in 18th. Brandon Kreutz in 19th. And Troy Hayton 20th, who is on 2 tires, it looks like.
All the way back in 20th on those 2 tires, but 21st we have Tim Knott, Brian Yazik. I don't know what he's doing back there in 22nd, but he's all the way back there. And Jared Haggerty in 23rd, Jay Graves Jr. in 24th, Scott Haller in 25th, JT Littler in 26th, John Kennedy 27th, Steve Buhala in 28th. Then Kenny Baker and Richard Stallings will round out the top 30.
And Corey, looks like Richard Fletcher is coming down pit road now, so he's going to drop to the rear of the field.
Yep, so he will take that penalty, and that will allow the number 70 of Scott Eckrich to get back to where he's been running all race, and well, that's P1, so he'll be used to that. But that damaged machine of Mark Emerson is going to be the one leading the charge on the outside groove. Nick Cohan in the third spot inside of row 2, and then who does he have? That is Woody Mahan. I believe that moves up into the 4th position. So the different position for Cohan on the outside, does that give him any more of an advantage to be able to see when Eckrich is going and maybe try to stay with him a little better?
It might give him a little bit more of an advantage, and especially with Emerson having that front end damage there, leading that outside lane, that's definitely going to, or most likely it's going to slow up that outside lane just a little bit getting going here, so we'll see how that works out for that 57 Cohan.
Yeah, we will indeed do so as we come through the tunnel here. We have completed, well, we will have completed 23 laps. It'll be lap 24 going on the board once we hit the start-finish line, so nearly halfway complete in this 50-lap endeavor for the Back to Cup series here, the Twitchy Race Reports ASRS Cup Series, presented to you on LSRTV by PTR TV. Corey Silva, Evan Black giving you the calls. Joe Chris behind the scenes. Here we come through the final corner. It is going to be the second restart of the night after this caution flag. Can Eckrich get out to that start again? Can he pull away, or will someone be able to hang with him this time? Let's find out together. Coming off the final turn, pace car is in, and while Cohan did not get that jump at all, Eckrich out in his old world, green flag in the air.
Yeah, Emerson going to hold on to second, even with that front end damage here on this restart, but actually Cohan, he's getting up through the gears just a little bit better. He may be able to get to his inside going down into turn 1. Yes, he will. Emerson up there in that third lane, which is not where you want to be for turn 1. Cohan through to second, Emerson back to third now, and there's a battle for 4th.
Yes, there is. 4th on back. They are shaking for these positions. That's Mitch Brown. He is to the top. He's behind Woody Mahan. 27 to Jordan Ashland in 5th. Haven't talked about him too much tonight. He's making his presence known. They're going to go door to door through the tunnel. Here comes Mitch Brown with the run on the outside in the tunnel. Going down the chute here into corner number 3 as they will remain side by side for the 5th spot. Brown to the outside. Ashland with the preferred groove down low. Brown's going to try to pinch him down and get the run down the front straightaway.
But out of turn 3 and down the front stretch, pretty even. It looks like the 18 may have a little bit better run down the front stretch, but it's kind of hard to tell. Pretty even there. We'll see here down into turn 1 as Ashland will have the preferred lane, but Mitch Brown driving in quite a bit deeper, and he's going to be up there in that second lane, trying to come down now, and Brown's going to clear.
Yes, he will. Round the outside is that 18, clearing for the position, making it work, and he got a little bit of a run in that process. He's closing in on Woody Mahan, trying to gain that 4th spot in this kind of 2-for-1 deal, as I see some 3 wide going on there into the tunnel. That's Sam Maxwell. Brandon Kreutz, haven't talked about him, still having a decent run. Nick Curling in the 45 as they're back in the late teens, 6:15 through about 18th position battling there. Here comes the 114, well out of the groove, curling to the outside. Maxwell and Kreutz right around the yellow line.
Sideways behind him, down in the grass. Caution out.
That's JT Littler. That's John Kennedy the 89 there in the grass. So let's find out what happened there as we go under the third caution of the race. Kennedy he just lost it in the center of the final corner there, maybe on the downshift, and someone just got the short end of the stick there with that contact. Let's try to go back and see it again. Good to see here.
Yeah, I think Kennedy went down to second there.
Yeah, I think
entering turn 3.
Was that a little bit of a puff of cloud there? That was yeah, someone got clipped there. Couldn't quite see who it was, but I almost thought I saw a puff of smoke there as if his engine expired, and that helped. That well, assisted in setting him around. So, regardless of what happened, it's still 3 cautions on the books today, and they are speeding around trying to find the pace car, which finds itself in the center of turns 1 and 2. And well, Evan, this is a point we haven't been in yet where it's pretty much been, that was about 2 to 3 laps of green flag racing. What do you do?
Whatever Eckrich does, you do the opposite. Because just Eckrich has had the speed where no one can really touch him. So I think you just gotta do the opposite of what he does.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much, do you want to win the race? Do you want to have any chance to win? If you're going to try to win, and you know you don't have it on speed, well, like Evan said, just try to do it on strategy. Get that 70 back in the pack, and we know once you fall back in the pack here at Pocono, it's so easy to lose time that when you're losing all that time, you may clear all the traffic, but you're going to be 5, 6, 7 seconds back, and well, it's hard to overcome that, so may not be too bad of an idea.
But pits should be open this time, so we'll get to see what everyone decides to do. And I think if they do come to pit road, there's going to be quite a few 2-tire calls, I think.
Yeah, I would not be surprised at all. And does Eckrich take 2 tires to try to preserve his track position? Is he worried about that? That's something that we'll be able to find out here, as here we come down pit lane. Oh, we have some takers, we have some stayers. Eckrich on pit road, but 57-22 staying on the racetrack. Jordan Ashland, the 75. So, well,
a lot of guys staying out.
Eckrich is going to have some work to do. You can see at least 10 cars. Yeah, actually about 11, I want to say, staying on the circuit. Then what happens in pit road? Is there going to be any 2-tire calls? I'm assuming Eckrich is going to take 4. He's already there. There's no reason to short set yourself there once you're already committed. It looks like everyone in the pits will take 4, so Eckrich is going to be back in the 12th spot after this. Woody Mahan, Tyler Seville, Jeff Ward are going to follow him out at the exit of pit road. So again, after this 3rd caution of the race, we're going to step aside once again for a side-by-side break and be back with you for the restart. So again, please stay with us.
Right. Yep, this is our new scanner. Wow. And this scans all your tracks and will scan everything else around it as well? Yeah, you can even scan yourself with it. Oh, that's awesome. Now, don't tell Tony that I asked, but how do you turn it on? You just hit this button, scan right here. Cool. And then that's just going to move around? Yep. It'll just do a rotation, scan away. Oh, wow, that's cool. That's cool. That's real cool.
Hey, Kevin, can you come to the office for a minute?
Yeah.
To show you something.
There.
remember a couple years into my tenure at Hendrick Motorsports, I was asked to go fill in at a road course test at Road Atlanta for Jimmy Johnson. He had tested the first day and couldn't test the second day. And I was nervous. I'm testing for Jimmy Johnson, 7-time champion. Man, I better be ready. You know, Chad Knaus and all those guys, they expect perfection. So I spent hours racing on iRacing at Road Atlanta. And when I showed up, I was right on top of Jimmy's times from the day before. And they didn't know how. They couldn't believe, like, you've been here before? And I was like, never seen it. But I went online and raced online on iRacing, and it literally was like deja vu when I got out on the actual track and tested.
Did you know that, I was going to jump in real quick, the simulator, did you know, like, when you got out there, hey, it's going to be this, or as you're driving, you're like, wow, this really is the same?
It's so similar. It's visually so similar. And the other thing, too, that helps is all the, you can basically, the iRacing software and some of the simulators for the manufacturers are so technical and realistic that they can create the perfect shift point. So I'll shift into, the same gears at the same spot on the racetrack, and I'll need to be in the same gear in every corner as I would from the simulator to the real world experience. And so those are things that you don't have to learn when you show up. I don't have to spend the first half of the day learning the track, learning where the shift points are, learning what gear to be in, learning how hard I can brake into the corner. I already know it. And literally it transfers over into real life so much easier these days with how realistic these simulations are.
Wow. Two things come. Road Atlanta is a tough road course.
So cool, yeah. Nate, what are you working on at the moment?
So I'm working on the animation for the game. We're working on getting pictures.
And welcome back to PTR-TV on LSRTV here for the ASRS Premier Cup Series. Sam Maxwell Customs, Pocono 180. 30 laps here complete. So about 20 laps to go here at the stripe. Nick Cohen up here in the lead now, and Mark Emerson in second.
Yeah, we'll see here as, well, a lot of a big shake-up there on that last set of pit stops where Eckrich is going to be back in the pack. So what's he going to do? We have drivers who did not pit that will be leading the field down on about 8-lap-old tires. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Let's watch it together. Here we come off of the final corner, getting ready for the restart. On the loud pedal is the 57. He gets out to a pretty good jump over the 22 with that damage. Mitch Brown in third. Let's see what happens here into turn number 1.
Mitch Brown looks like it's going to go through to the second as Emerson did not get going there at all. Now down into turn 1, Mitch Brown clear for second, and they're wrecking back and back.
Oh my goodness. I just saw someone beeline completely into the wall there. I don't know where it started, but let's try to go back on replay of it. If you can give me some hints, that would be nice.
Brandon Kurtz. Oh, there's your hint.
That is not a good hint. Well, he went into one, and that camera kind of threw us off there. But he was upside down. He was inside of Mark Cole. Oh, they were 4 wide for a brief moment. I'm
assuming that Brandon didn't know the 114 was down there because entering the corner, he wasn't down there, and then he was. Yeah, and, the spotters, they don't call 4 wide.
Yeah, we're in slow motion now, and coming, you can see he's looking underneath the 1. The 40 is looking underneath the 114. Kreutz, yeah, he came across the nose of the 114, probably not, like as you said, not realizing that situation was what it was. And, well, we saw a lot of upside-down drivers in that. So, remember, there are no backup cars in the American Sim Racing Series. So, if you can't get it fixed, well, that's the end of your night. Puts us under 20 laps to go. And, well, I don't really see any drivers changing their strategy. If you did not pit last time by, I really can't imagine you wanting to pit at this opportunity because, well, not much really changed. You didn't really get to show anything.
Yeah, they only ran about 1 or 2 corners there.
So I think the call is going to be pretty much to do whatever, just stick with whatever you did the last time by. So that puts us in another caution flag. It is 18 to go. We'll probably go back racing, Evan, with, I'd have to say about 15 to go, maybe 14, and then, well, we saw some pretty good racing that first segment. I think we saw about 10, 12 laps of green flag racing. So we know that Scott Eckrich is going to be the fastest driver, but if this race continues in a, well, shootout style format, do you think he's going to be able to get back up there?
So Eckrich is up to 10th now.
Did you not hear anything I just said?
No.
Oh. Well, rip me. I'll say it again. We're going to be in about a 12 lap, 15, well, probably 13, 14 lap restart window. If this race continues in this shootout style, you know, a couple cautions here and there, is Eckrich going to be able to get back up there?
If it just keeps going in like the shootout style like what we're having now, I don't think so. He's going to need it to go green for a few laps.
Yeah, that was my thought as well, because at this point he's gonna need to be able to strut his stuff and show what he has. We know he is the class of the field, but you can only make so much happen in a half a lap or 1 lap. So, and then we might get into a window if there's let's say there's another caution with, let's say, 10 or 11 to go. Are we done with pitting yet? Is someone going to have... You're going to have to make that decision on, are those tires going to be worth it? Because are we going to go green to actually make it worthwhile?
I think from here on out, you just have to stay out. If you pit, you're just going to lose too much track position unless everyone pits with you, which they're not going to. Someone's going to stay out.
Now, whatever you do is... Well, as the leader especially, whatever you do is 9 times out of 10 the wrong decision. Luckily, at least here at Pocono, tire wear isn't absolutely catastrophic, so you may be able to hang on if there's a reasonable amount of difference in tires. Obviously, 20 laps versus fresh ones, that's nothing, but if it's 5 laps versus 10 laps, I mean, you might be able to hang in there at least for a lap or two, which that may be all you need. So again, we had 34 drivers actually take the green flag, and at this stage in the race, we have 28 drivers still being shown on the lead lap. And we have 5 drivers off the lead lap, and again, the only actually, I'm going to essentially throw John Kennedy into the retiree list because he's been in the pits for about 15 minutes fixing damage after his incident in the final corner. So 32 drivers, and actually, I think I'm going to throw Brandon Kreutz in that retiree segment as well. He's been in the pits for about 6 minutes. So effectively, 31 drivers still on the racetrack.
But lights should be out on the pace car this time. Yes, they are. So we'll be coming back around to the green flag. And now Mitch Brown will have up there in the 2nd position. He started in 7th, so pretty nice gains there for that 18 team.
Yep, and we know We haven't seen it yet, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. But it is a lot of times easier to get better runs when you are the third place driver to the inside and behind the leader. You can see when he's going. You can sometimes, you know, prepare for it ahead of time and try to roll that run and get it going. So we haven't seen it yet, but we'll see. Maybe this is the time. Maybe it is going to be Mitch Brown to take advantage of that.
I don't think we'll see the third place guy get going very well here because Emerson with that front end damage, I think it's been kind of hurting him on these restarts. Once he gets up to speed, he's fine, but it's just on these restarts, he's not able to get up to speed quite as quickly.
Yeah, I mean, that is gonna hinder him. I mean, when he's behind someone especially, he can maybe use the draft, if anything, to help him out a little bit. But let's find out here. We're coming through the tunnel. We are coming through, I see in chat someone says there is a tunnel there. Can't see it from this angle, but that is the vehicle tunnel here at Pocono, so that is why the tunnel's named that. And sometimes over time it does get bumpy there as the track settles and over this tunnel. That makes it that much more difficult of a corner, but we come through corner number 3/5 and 6 here at Pocono. And Evan, how about you get him going this time?
Getting ready to come out of turn number 3 here. Gonna be 15 laps to go at the restart. Pace car getting ready to pull down into pit road. There it goes, now waiting on Cohan, and there he goes, and Mitch Brown, he got going really good there. That's the best we've seen anyone get going from that second position, but still not going to be able to get, or not going to be able to stay on his quarter panel.
Not at all. The 27 gives him a little bit of a tap. Try to get him going, a bump draft. 22 to the inside still. That's Mark Emerson. This is just going to allow that 57 to get going, pull away as these guys are side by side still. Off of corner number 1 and down the Long Pond straightaway. 2 by 2 by 2 all the way back throughout the field.
Mitch Brown going to clear 4 seconds, and Mark Emerson falling back to 3rd, Jordan Ashman 4th, and battle going on for 5th with David Hudson and Sam Maxwell. And then Zach Calloway right behind them, but coming out of turn 2, the tunnel turn. Got that 75 and 98 still side by side, but Maxwell is going to clear 4th.
Maxwell having that run. He has been getting through the field methodically from the early teens up until the top 5 is that number 98 machine. Let's see if he has more to show. Started in the 15th position, did that number 98 machine.
Scott Eckrich going 3 wide for the 7th position here. Dylan Hickey in the middle and Zach Calloway up there at the top. Scott Eckrich down on the bottom. Clears both of them, but he got down on the apron. That got a little bit loose. He's going to slide up in front of those drivers, but still going to be able to hang on to the spot.
Nearly into the back bumper, into the left rear quarter panel of the 75 of David Hudson was Eckrich. I thought he drove it in there a little too deep, but he was able to hold the reins back. But into the tunnel, he sails it underneath the 75 and successfully gets into the 6th position. Maxwell didn't get off the tunnel at all that time. That'll allow him to gain even more time, try to get back into the top 5 a lot earlier than we expected.
And you can just see how much quicker those fresher tires are on that 70. Just how well he got through turn 3 there and out of 3. Now we're going to pull underneath that 98 of Maxwell down the front straightaway. Going to try and side draft him a little bit here. There he goes to do the side draft as they go down into turn 1. We'll see if he can clear him. And already cleared.
Yes, he is. He is currently 1.5 seconds behind your leader, who is Nick Cohan. He is about a half second up over Mitch Brown. Mark Emerson in that heavily damaged vehicle still hanging on in 3rd. Then we have Jordan Ashland in 4th. And then, well, that's the money man, Scott Eckrich, in the 5th spot. You may be asking, where is Jeff Ward? Ward has some right front damage. He is in the 13th spot at the moment, your points leader, who's won number 5 races this season. I don't think number 6 is going to happen, but he's trying to get through this pack as there's a whole bunch of stuff going on through corner number 3. He's in a tight position with Brian Yazik right behind them off of the final corner. Yazik to the inside of Non. We have Hudson and Cone here. Look at this battling going on for about the 8th through 11th positions.
Yeah, really good battle and going on all the way throughout this field. And Jeff Ward, he's going to slide it through to the 10th position here as the 75 is really checking up that outside lane there. The 75 is on 2 tires from the last time he pitted. So he's starting to drop back through the field as Scott Eckrich is up to 3rd, Corey.
And then, yes, he is, as Ashland and Emerson They're battling for 4th and 5th, but while that was all going on, Eckrich just passed 2 drivers at probably about 1 lap while we were watching that other battle. So this is going to not be good for the 2 up front because, well, look at that. He's already here. It's not even going to be a battle anymore. He is just out to dominate, and that is exactly what he's doing here. He comes with the run down the front straightaway. He's going to be able to get Mitch Brown into corner number 1, I'm fairly certain.
Yeah, pulling underneath him on the front straightaway, now down into turn 1, and he already cleared him through the center of 1, so he's going to be able to slide up all the way up to the wall on the exit of the corner, and he's probably going to get our leader here in turn 3.
Yeah, I mean, Evan, we talked about, well, if this continues in shootout style racing, is he going to get back there? Well, it hasn't been shootout style racing. We're on a pretty good run right now, so these drivers are racing clean, turning some laps, and that's exactly what Eckrich needed to gain these positions back.
Going through turn 3 now, and the battle for the lead is heating up out of the corner number 3 now, and I don't know if Eckrich got a good enough run to get by him quite yet, but he should be able to down here in turn 1, not going to be able to get next to him down the front stretch. 10 laps to go now at Pocono. We'll see here through 1. And 70 is going to back up the corner just a little bit, now running a little bit higher. I don't know if that was intentional, but we'll see if he can get a better run out of turn 1.
Yeah, at Pocono, 10 laps is still an eternity, though, so don't think that this race is almost over. There still is a good amount of time left, and I don't see it at the 57 to be able to hang on, but you know he's going to do whatever he can to stall him for as long as possible. Remember, the iRacing cutoff lap is about 5 to go. We could still have a caution at any time. So Eckrich needs to get by as soon as possible. Has a late entry into 3, trying to cut through the exit and on to the front straightaway. I think it worked for him. Here he comes right to the back bumper.
He's going to have to try and make a dive down into turn 1 as he's not going to be able to get to his quarter panel on the front stretch. We'll see if he can try and make that move. He's going to back it up. I think the tires have kind of started to equalize a little bit because the 70 is not quite as fast, or not quite as faster as he was before.
Quite as faster.
Yeah.
And there may be a little bit of a aerodynamic disadvantage at play where a little bit of aero push could be coming into play. He may not be able to run his exact line as Cohan a little bit loose on the braking into the tunnel. That is going to compromise his exit. That's going to compromise his exit because he got into the fence, and that's going to open the door for Eckrich. He's going to have to sail it into 3 on the outside for Cohan to try to stay on the opportunity to keep the lead. He's trying to pinch him down. They're going to come off of the final corner down the front straightaway. Lead change, Scott Eckrich.
But Cohan, he got a pretty good run down the front stretch so far. Not going to be able to get to his quarter panel. We'll see if he can try and make a dive down into 1. He's not going to be able to, so I think now it's pretty much Eckrich's race.
Yes, it is, and like I said, if we're going to have a caution, we're going to have it relatively quickly because remember, no green-white checkers on iRacing, so we have to have it by about lap 6. Remember, on the ASRS rulebook, there is no one-lap shootout, so if there's going to be a caution, it's going to happen soon. We'll go back to the battles, the prominent battles on the speedway right now. We've seen the 75, seems to be in all of them tonight. Heading into the tunnel underneath Tim Knott. Here comes Nick Curling to the outside, side by side. Behind that is Tim Knott, and I believe that is the 44 of Jordan Harnish. Haven't talked about him too much tonight. They're going to be nearly 3 wide through corner number 3 onto the front straightaway here at Pocono. 41 and the 56, Dylan Hickey will remain side by side.
See, the 75 of Hudson does have a run on both of those drivers. We'll see if he pulls to the inside. He's going to stay in line for now. But look at Hickey sliding all the way up to the track. He's in the 4th lane up there. That's going to allow both the 41 and 75 to get by. And maybe Curling as well.
Yeah, Nick Curling in that 45 trying to take advantage of all of this at the moment, but we're going to jump cut to the front just a little bit. There is a battle going on for the 3rd position. Jordan Ashland is closing in on Mitch Brown. And just behind that, Jeff Ward. Remember, we talked about Jeff Ward, about 12th, 13th points leader. He is back in the top 5 and has a couple more positions on his radar. And he's going to gain pretty quickly on them, as currently the 27 and 18 are side by side.
Yeah, Ashland pulling to the inside of that 18 machine down the front stretch. We'll see if he can clear him down in one, but the 18, he's not going to give him room. He's going to be fighting for it, but the 18 got loose, entering the corner and kind of in the center, so that's going to allow the 27 to easily get by him there.
Yes, he does, and that's not going to allow Ward to gain as much time. He needed them to run side by side a little bit longer than they did.
Well, here it is.
Well, yep, crossover move. Tried to dive it in there to the 18. Didn't work for him as the 27 got off the tunnel to allow Brown to close in. Does not happen. If anything, Brown did not get off the tunnel at all. And there comes Ward taking advantage of that situation, headed into turn number 3. 27 washes up the track, doesn't get right to the white line, the yellow line.
Ward got loose. Got into the wall a little bit there. It's going to cost him a lot of momentum. I don't think it hurt his car too much, but he just lost all his momentum there.
We call that wiggling, jiggling, and all sorts of squiggling off of the final corner here for Jeff Ward. We'll go on board with him on the instant replay. You can see he's in third gear, on the power a little bit too much, and trying to gain that time, and, well, backfired on him. He's going to have to gain it all back.
But up front for the lead, it's pretty much stayed the same. Eckrich has a second lead now over Nick Cohan. And then 3 seconds back from there, back to Jordan Ashland and Mitch Brown.
Yep, so we have spread out right now your top 10 as we just gave you the top 5. Jeff Ward in 5th, Mark Emerson in 6th, Sam Maxwell leading a small chain of drivers in 7th, Mark Cohn in 8th. Good run for him. Brian Yazik, haven't talked about him too much. He's been hanging in the top 10, 9th spot, and then Tyler Seville rounding at your top 10.
4 laps to go now for Scott Eckrich, which right now, if the caution were to come out, this race would be over.
Yes, it would. We have eclipsed the iRacing cutoff lap, so really, as long as Eckrich does not make any catastrophic mistakes, this race at Pocono will belong to him. As thought I saw Mitch Brown take a peek there, but a little too far back for that. So for Eckrich, let's look at his statistics. Let's see, Eckrich, as you said, Evan, he hasn't run all the races in this series. He's back 14th in points. I think that would still put him in playoff eligibility. He did have 2 top 5s and 4 top 10s this season, has yet to pull himself into victory lane. But with a 2.5 lead and 3 laps to go, I'd be willing to say that fact's going to change tonight.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any chance for Cohan to catch him. But Cohan, he sure is wheeling that thing. He's getting loose out of pretty much every single corner and just getting sideways.
Yeah, you can't say he's not trying, which, I mean, if you're a racer, that's what you need to do. You need to try at every opportunity, and doesn't matter how far back you are, doesn't matter if everything says you're not going to get there. You're still going to try. Cohan doing exactly that. Ashland is in his own little bubble. You can see Jeff Ward is kind of stabilized in the 4th position as he has gotten by Mitch Brown for 5th. Brown is going to have to try to run 2 good laps and not fall too far back into the clutches of Emerson.
Everyone kind of spread out now. Except from about 15th on back, there still is a gaggle of cars battling back there from Tim Knott, Jordan Harnish, and a few others.
Yeah, the guys in the pack have been at it all race. Probably the mid-teens has been the best battling we have seen all night, as they will head into the tunnel. And you can see the 40 of Woody Mahan was in the top 5 earlier, finds himself all the way back in the late teens now as they're going to wash up the track in the tunnel. Everyone has to slow up to avoid that safer barrier. But while all of that is going on, we're taking the white flag lap here at the Pocono Raceway for Scott Eckrich.
2.5 more miles for Scott Eckrich around the Pocono Raceway, and he'll have a checkered flag.
Yes, he will. It'll be his first win of the season as he has tamed the tricky triangle. He has been the dominant car. Nobody has really been able to give him any sort of challenge tonight. He's just done everything right, run a nice methodical pace, not had to push the car too much, not put a wheel offline, just doing exactly what you need to do. when you want to capitalize on a perfect night. He comes through the tunnel, he comes through the chute, and here he comes through the final corner. He started on the pole, he's run up front nearly all the laps, and, well, he's going to seal the deal and take that checkered flag home. Scott Eckrich with the win here tonight at Pocono.
And Nick Cohen is going to come home in second, and he's going to see who's going to come home in third, and Jordan Ashland crosses the line in the third position.
That is the top three, and everybody else will complete their race and cross the checkers to solidify their position. So give them a brief moment to do so as we complete in the finish of the race tonight and offer our congratulations to your winner, Scott Eckrich. So I think we can do it now. Before we take a break, we'll take a break, and after that we will have the post-race show and talk to the top three finishers. But before we do that, let's give you the final rundown here tonight from the Pocono Raceway. As we saw with the victory tonight, leading 34 laps is Scott Eckrich. Nick Cohan with a second, Jordan Ashland with a third, Jeff Ward finished in fourth. Then we had Mitch Brown, Mark Emerson, Sam Maxwell, Brian Yazik, Mark Cohn, and Tyler Seville, your top 10.
And coming home in 11th, we had Zach Calloway, Andy Veltman in 12th, David Hudson in 13th, Dylan Hickey in 14th, Jordan Harnish in 15th, Woody Mahan in 16th, Nick Curlin in 17th, Tim Knott 18th, Troy Haight 19th, and Richard Stallings in 20th.
And then in the 21st position, as I clicked the wrong button there, apologize, Jay Graves Jr. in 21st, Scott Holler in 22nd, Jim Foose with the 23rd, Jason Stewart in 24th, Tommy Cannon in 25th, Kenny Baker in 26th, Richard Fletcher in 27th, Steve Buhala, JT Littler, and Jared Haggerty, your top 30.
And the rest of the field, we have Brandon Kreutz, Josh Gallagher, John Kennedy, and Clarence Bonner in 34th. Those are the 34 cars that started here at the Pocono Raceway.
All right, so while we assemble the top three finishers for post-race interviews, we got to take a quick break and allow them to get into the booth with us. So again, stay with us.
And that involves a lot of moving parts. So I'm going in and making sure that each moving part can dovetail smoothly into the next one, so that when you pull in for a pit stop, it looks like the real thing, as opposed to a bunch of jumbled pieces that suddenly stop and then go and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's so cool, but why aren't you working on the time model? Nothing?
And we're back here on PTR TV on LSR TV for the finish of tonight's race. Well, actually, for the post-race show, rather. So we will start the process by talking to the third place finisher in tonight's race. That is the number 27 of Jordan Ashton, and Evan has caught up with him.
So, Jordan, you come with the third place finish here at Pocono. What are your thoughts after this race?
It was a pretty good race. A little caution friendly in the middle. So pit strategy worked out for who got Eckrich back from like 10th or 12th or something, but it was a pretty good race.
Yeah, you started this race in the 10th position. What was it like getting up there to third?
I kind of bided my time a little bit. Wasn't very aggressive at all. People in front of me were a little more aggressive. They hit the wall. I was able to take advantage of that a little bit. And on pit road for that first pit stop, I think 3 or 4 people ahead of me had problems on pit road, so I gained positions, got up to 4th.
All right, one more question here for you. We saw a lot of guys struggling with handling there, especially on the long runs. What was it like for you?
I was just taking it easy. I guess that was good on my tires, and I think people were kind of overdriving it. So the longer run was better for me.
All right. Well, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out to after your 3rd place finish?
I'd like to thank Jim Foose for putting on a good league. Guys put on a good broadcast, and Jared Mogart sponsors the Cup Series, and Sam Maxwell, who sponsors the Truck Series.
All right. Well, thanks for talking with us, and once again, congrats on your 3rd place finish.
Thank you.
And now Corey has cut up with 2nd place finisher and Nick Cohan.
All right, Nick, it was a hard-fought battle, and you were fought with a very difficult challenge of holding off that 70. You did for a couple laps, so just talk about that battle and ultimately your race, which led you to 2nd place tonight.
Yeah, that was a fun battle. I had to try something different on strategy because I just didn't have enough speed to get all the way to his bumper to see if I had anything for him. I just couldn't get that extra long run. So I said to myself, whatever he does on pit road here, I'm doing the complete opposite. And he went down, so I stayed out. Thought it might work out based on some recent races we've had here with a lot of cautions at the end of the race, and of course it does the opposite of what would have worked for me in the long run. But 2nd place, happy with that. I think I did pretty good for holding off on them tires. They were really worn out till there by the end. But and I guess we'll take 2nd. I've learned from Scott. I've been racing with Scott for a long time, and he's taught me a lot of what I know now. So good job to him. Good job to everybody tonight. I think we had a pretty good race for Cup Cars at Pocono.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely proven from what was the truck race we saw. But what was we know at Pocono a lot of shifting, and especially in the Cup car with all the power. What was the biggest challenge that you faced wheeling that car around the triangle tonight?
I'm not really sure. I felt pretty comfortable. It's just Scott's just really fast. He's the fastest person I've ever raced around, so he's hard to beat. And I know he's good here, and I know he knew I was good here, so it was gonna be a fun battle. I was stuck to my plan of shifting the entire race, but then 2nd run, when I realized, okay, I really don't have enough speed right now, I decided to try and switch it up a little bit. Tried to not shift, see if I could make up any time, and it wasn't working. So then at that point, it was kind of a strategy game from there. So like I said, I was hoping for a couple more cautions at the end, and sometimes they fall that way, and sometimes they don't, like it did tonight. So.
Yeah, 10-4, man. As we said, we were calling it in the booth. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. That's just how the racing gods play it out for us. But again, 2nd place finish tonight. Who do you want to give your shout-outs to? Who makes it happen for you guys on your team?
Everybody at Dizzy Motorsports, all teammates, CG Automotive for being on the car tonight, Lucas Oil, Toyota, Jim and ASRS for putting this together, and you guys for doing a broadcast.
All right, 10-4, man. Congrats again, and hopefully we'll be talking to you in the future.
Thanks, guys.
And now Evan will talk to the winner of tonight's race, the number 70 of Scott Eckrich.
All right, Scott, you come out with the win after dominating this race from the pole. What are your thoughts after tonight's race?
Oh man, I'm finally glad to get the monkey off my back. We've had some bad luck, probably half of our own doing, and just getting caught up in some other stuff, and just finally glad to bring one of these things home.
Yeah, last time out here in the Cup cars for you finished 2nd. Now getting the win, and you kind of dominated this race. When you were out there waiting, did you just feel like something was going to go wrong, or did you feel like you had it kind of wrapped up?
I was dreading the caution coming out with, just like a green-white checkered scenario. I was watching those laps tick away until I knew that we would be, 6 laps to go. Because we don't do the 1-lap shootouts here, so I was just counting down till we hit that 6 laps, and then I could feel like I could breathe.
Yeah, on that final restart, you came from 10th there for 15 laps, and did you think you were going to get up to the front, or when you pitted, did you think you kind of lost the race there?
I knew I could just because of the fall off, but the big thing is, you know, getting into the mid pack here at Pocono it's always dangerous. You know, it's just everybody runs so different lines here. You really got to watch, you know, how you enter the corner, and, you know, when you get back to the throttle and stuff, not to run people over. And it's just, you know, I knew if I could do that, not hit anybody, I felt like we had a real good chance. And that restart that the outside lane kept getting definitely helped out.
Well, here in a few weeks, we're going to be going to Darlington here in the Cup cars. What do you feel about that? That's a pretty tough track. Do you think you'll have something for those guys there?
I feel like I'm okay at Darlington. I don't feel like I'm, you know, anything special. I feel like my track, like my special forte, is going to be like your Pocono and your Indianapolis. But we hope just to continue the good runs here and, you know, try to get another one. All
right. Well, is there anyone you'd like to thank or give a shout out to after your win here at Pocono?
I'd just like to thank all the Loud Pedal Motorsports guys. We had a real good day today. We had a bunch of our guys finishing up in the top positions here. So just shout out to every one of those guys and the league and, you know, you guys for putting on the broadcast for us.
All right. Thanks for talking with us. And once again, congrats on your win.
Thank you.
All right, so that is your top 3 finishers, and our post-race show is complete. So it's time to wrap up the broadcast here tonight on PTR TV on LSR TV. So again, we want to thank everyone who tuned in and hope you enjoyed the coverage of the race and hope you tuned in to future races. We still have a good amount of season left for the American Sim Racing Series and their 2 series that they run. Obviously, the Cup Series you saw tonight and the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series that runs on the alternating Tuesdays. And you don't want to miss Monday nights on the channel, as well as the same crew will be presenting you the Integrity Racing League. They're on a little bit of a broadcast hiatus, but they should be back, I want to say, next Monday. So stay tuned for that. Check out the schedule. It is there on YouTube, so don't miss any of the action. But tonight's race brought to you by PTR TV. We have our sponsors we want to give a quick shout out to, those being Air Movement and Fabrications, Croots Custom Graphics, and our overlays provided by iRacing Broadcast Overlay Graphics, ibog.co. So signing out of the booth tonight is Corey Silva and Evan Black. Thanks again for tuning in to tonight's coverage. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you next time.
Have a good night, and we'll see you on Monday.